let's talk about the acquisition that didn't happen. Okay, so this past week, USA Today reporter, what is his name? I follow him on Twitter. Kirk
Cobain.
What? Nope. Close though. Kirk McKeand wrote an article saying that. So USA Today report claimed that Amazon was planning to make an offer to purchase publishing giant EA. Conflicting reports have now emerged from CNBC, however, that say there are no acquisition plans in place. So basically, USA Today reporter said, hey, EA is going to be purchased by Amazon. And then there were some rumors saying, like, not going to happen. Here's the updated story. So this is an IGN article titled Amazon EA Acquisition Rumors Spark Confusion by Ryan Dinsdale. So this was immediately updated later that day. USA Today's report claiming that Amazon would today make an offer to buy Electronic Arts has been retracted, with the journalist behind the article also expressing doubt over its accuracy. The original report was updated multiple times in the hours after CNBC disputed its reporting. Slowly but surely stepping away from its fairly explicit declaration that Amazon would make EA an offer. Earlier today, GLHF, a gaming esports outlet and a content partner of USA Today's For the Win, ran a version of this story on our website that violated our editorial standards regarding the use of unnamed and unvetted sources, the page now reads. Kirk McKeand, the journalist behind the article, also said on Twitter, if you get something wrong in games journalism, it's a bit like when you work behind a bar and drop a pint glass. And everybody cheers, except instead of cheering, they just chuck more pint glasses at you. He continued, also, CNBC said, it isn't happening today, which isn't the same as it isn't happening. And if I turn out to be wrong, then I was wrong. It happens. It's the first time it's happened to me with a report like this, but it was bound to happen eventually. So he got it wrong. He had the wrong information. Sometimes that happens. It's a shame that something that is a very big, incorrect statement, right, that ended up like a lot of people were talking about this, but it was pretty quickly proven to be false. There you go. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just another thing to be careful about the internet and be careful about how quick information can get out there, and how sometimes it's important to sit on a story till you know for a fact it's true. And it seems like the interesting thing is when he says it isn't happening today, but something like this could destroy a deal that would be happening, like this, getting put out there, and then stock prices changing and up and down and that kind of stuff. But you just got to be careful, and I think journalism degrees are things that can often be laughed at, or you don't need a journalism degree to be a journalist, but you got to learn journalism ethics. You got to, stuff like this happens. And I think,
like this is a mistake I could make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what, here's the fucked up thing about here. I'll tell you something I learned in journalism school that does not apply to video games journalism. In journalism school, I learned that you should never use anonymous sources because the credibility of an anonymous source is zero. It could be anyone. It could be you. It could be me. I could have made it up, right? That's all anything is in video games journalism is anonymous sources, right? So what do? You know what I mean? If you have a source saying this thing and you could just go, fuck, okay, yeah, let's run the story. It's leak, or it's, this news broke early, whatever. You go with it. In video games journalism.
Yeah.
In real journalism, you don't do that. you don't do that. But that's just how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, there is a power with journalism, and I understand, again, I'm not a journalist specifically. I don't pretend to be a journalist. I like to read the news and talk about what I think about the news.
Sure.
And I think that, and it's not just video games. I know video games because I'm hyper-focused in this industry. But I think with the internet, what news is and how things can be reported is different than traditional, carefully vetted journalistic sources and things like that. How much news do we get from looking at updates on Twitter or social media and things like that? How stories break that way. The information gets out there so quick, and it's so easy to have false information that I think the best thing in life is to have doubt when you hear news. And then wait for more sources to report on it. I think the unfortunate thing with this story specifically was USA Today is the one who kind of like launched this, right? Like a big source that people are like, or is it
Kirk McKean writes for USA Today.
Oh, okay, so someone from USA Today says this, so people associate. Okay, wait a second, USA Today says this or whatever, but.
I think something that you're sort of speaking to, though, is emblematic of an issue with games journalism. And by the way, never type games journalism into YouTube or really any search engine. I'll tell you how it is. I'll tell you how it is from the inside. I don't know Kirk McKean personally, but he writes for USA Today, and that is not a place that you write for if you don't have any experience writing, right? It is really easy to tell someone like me who I have a degree in journalism. It's really easy for me to tell the people who do and the people who don't. And games journalism and entertainment journalism is really the only journalism industry where like you don't need a degree to do it. You can just start doing it and like it's kind of okay. Because exactly what you're saying. Me, if I read that, you got to go like, whoa, who's saying that? Like, okay, so he's saying that, but who's this source, right? Or who's he talking to? Can we talk to them? Can we reach out to them for a statement? Like, that's what you have to do. Whereas I think a lot of games journalism and entertainment journalism in general, will see this and just go, yeah, okay, sure. You know, because so many of the people who are writing, and this isn't a judgment, not everyone has the budget and time to go to journalism school. Some people just want to write about video games because it's fun. But like, not everyone, I think, has the judgment to be able to say like, hold on, maybe we should double back on this. So what I'm trying to say is I think you're totally right.
Yeah.
As always.
And I'm not always right. But like, I think that it's one of those things that happens, and sometimes things get picked up in a way that blossoms into a bigger story than it should be. But I think the thing that's interesting is the reason this ballooned up to what it was is because, truth or not, this sounds like something that could happen tomorrow.
I mean, when I read this, I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Right.
Of all the companies, Amazon doing that, and Amazon has done things like this before, what I would call a shrewd move to acquire something to make itself bigger. And I think it's hard for me to tell what the long-term implications of this would be, but I think this would probably be good. Amazon clearly has had interest in there. They have the kind of capital to do this kind of stuff, but it would be interesting to see how EA would shift, if at all. But I mean, I go to Whole Foods nowadays, and I'm not like, oh shit, Amazon's everywhere. You know, like I don't feel like it's. I really don't go to Whole Foods that much, but I don't feel like Amazon has like Jeff Bezos is watching me around every corner. I feel like, you know, they will keep it working and they will keep it doing what it's doing to make money.
I will also just say Kirk McKean took this like a fucking champ. Yeah. Like just said, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You know, people are wrong. Like it happens. Today was my day to be the person who's wrong. Instead of, I think a lot of people tend to like double down on this sort of stuff when they're like, well, no, I was told. Like he's just like, yep, I was wrong. And I will say he does really nail it on the head where it's like when you work at a bar and you drop a glass, like everyone cheers, except instead of cheering, they just throw a lot of glasses at you. Like I've been that guy. And hey, that's not fun.
I did laugh at that response and stuff. But again, that response. I mean, granted, on this IGN article, they report it, but you don't always hear that part of the story. You don't hear the person. You just are like, oh, that idiot. But like, it happens.